Hello out there. I hope everybody is doing well today. It is me, and I am out in nature today. I tried to get away from the car exhaust and people and motorcycle mufflers and everything and get out into a little bit of nature. It's a little bit windy today, which is good in some respects. I guess we'll find out how this media mod external mic works for the GoPro. I do have the what do they call that? Dead cat or whatever. It's this thing you put over the microphone, whatever, doesn't matter. Gonna see how the microphone works with this windy type condition. Anyways, what I was gonna speak about just briefly here is what I have noticed personally with regards to the internet over the last few days. And I'm probably on the internet way more than I should be, but under certain circumstances, I find myself more and more on the internet more than I care to be. When it's there, it's been very glitchy. And I'll just throw this out there, a plug for Static in the Attic. He recently uploaded a video to YouTube and about a solar flare from the sun that apparently affected Florida. And apparently also in his video he mentions that the first time in 44 years or something that in Miami they will be seeing an aurora borealis, which I don't know, but time will tell. Apparently, according to his video, this solar flare was the reason for thousands of flights being canceled in the state of Florida a couple days ago, plus reports from telecommunication companies that the telecommunications had gone down. Now, I personally experienced this whole glitchy thing with the Wi-Fi and the internet and all of that personally over the last few days, and being relatively located near the state that he mentioned where these events are taking place, I can say yes, in fact, that they have. Now, I have a little bit different take on it. While I'm not saying that the sun had nothing to do with it, what if anything, the powers that be very well could be manipulating the sun in some way for some type of telecommunications disruptions. Where I'm going to go with this is, considering the events that has unfolded, especially within the last couple years across Earth, my take on this and these glitches within the Wi-Fi, the internet, telecommunications, this type of thing, there is another layered reason behind this, reasons really, and I'm thinking that this is being how would I say it? Like, the Wi-Fi is being rebooted, so to speak, but it's more, my feeling is that it has more to do than regular maintenance. I have the feeling that this has to do with surveillance and uh, basically updating the entire World Wide Web, telecommunications, the internet, in order to easily track people and to excuse me, spy on people. This what has happened recently, and actually there was from what I understand, there was some reports that this has been happening in other parts of the world. This is why I'm thinking that this is a planned, coordinated event, to where not that we have not already been spied on and uh, tracked and all of this type of thing. It's not to say that. What they've done was updated it and are in the process of updating it for what is in store for us, it coming very soon. We see this happening. We hear we are being prepared for this. While I don't actually watch mainstream media, I see enough headlines to know that when the mainstream media starts telling you things, while they do lie a lot, they also tell the truth, and they are letting you know what is coming for you. And they have been mentioning there's all this talk of digital currency and social credit scoring and all of this type of thing. This is what I feel is occurring now, and it is being updated. I'll call it the system. And when I use the word system, I'll just keep it like that. I will say the system, and it's referring to the whole apparatus, all of it. And the unfolding of this social credit scoring and your ability to buy and sell and determine, for example, whether or not you get to live indoors or outdoor. All this stuff is coming. And you know, unfortunately, the first group of people that are going to feel this the most is people that are in some way connected with government payments, so to speak. I'm not, maybe that's not the right word, but you know, like disability checks, social security checks, maybe even food stamps, those type of things, welfare, whatever it is. This is a group which I would think, what I see, at least in the United States, is more than meets the eye. There are a lot of people, whether it's through Section 8, housing, food stamps. Definitely, there are many baby boomers that are already on Social Security or disability. These groups are going to be the first ones to feel this. And if you are not complying, if you are not going with the program, if you are not following the instructions and being a good little peasant and eating the cake, the little crumbs that they throw out to you, with a matter of a click or two, you're not getting no direct deposit in your bank account. And other parts of the country have already seen this happen. And I actually personally, while this is not talked about much, I personally believe that this is already happening in the United States. I actually believe that it is. And take it for what it's worth. This is my feeling on this, is that what this update to this internet and these interruptions, I'll just add, and again, these interruptions with the internet that's been happening, they kind of have to go offline at times in order to update. Imagine if you're just updating your computer. A lot of times you have to reboot your computer or your phone. Same type of thing. It goes offline, you restart it, and then the updates, are installed. And I have a feeling that this is happening. I think that what is coming, and we haven't seen it, it's here already. But what we are about to feel coming up is a part of it. We are so connected to everything that is connected to the World Wide Web. You don't hear that word very much anymore. The www dot everything else behind that, in the beginning, when you were referring to the internet, it was referred to as the World Wide Web way back in the day. Some of you may not have even been born yet when it was just referred to as the World Wide Web, and now now it's called the internet or Wi-Fi. But they changed the word. But in the beginning, if you take those three words and they broke them down into letters, www, well, the World Wide Web in itself should have been a dire warning, because of just the three words and what they imply. It is a net over this earth. And there is a Hopi prophecy speaking about people will know when there is going to be a major change on earth. And it has to do, in the Hopi prophecy, it talked about a spider web covering the earth. And that this is a time when, because of course in Hopi prophecies, they believe, as I do happen to believe, that the earth and civilization itself has started, stopped, been reset, rebooted, however you want to look at it, that has happened. That has happened before, and it's probably going to happen again. As the way I see it, look at the words World Wide Web and let that sink in, because they told us right in the beginning what this apparatus is that they have put in place, and we allowed them because it's so fantastical being able to get on the internet and find anything with a couple clicks. I say anything, y'all, you know what? And this is something I'm not going to get way into, but we as regular people, we only see approximately 5% of the World Wide Web. The other 95% is considered to be the predominant percentage is called the dark web, and the middle is called the deep web, and the probably less than 5%, around 5% possibly, that we actually see is not all that is on the World Wide Web. And I would not really want to see what is on the dark web personally, but this is an example of this reality is not what we see. Your Google browser, your Yahoo browser, whatever browser you're using is only showing you a minute part of what is on the World Wide Web. Now, there are people, of course, that do go into those areas of the World Wide Web, the deep web and the dark web, but these people are probably very knowledgeable. They are really good with encryption and using Tor browsers, with VIN number location type things that, bounce your signal around and nobody knows. But anyways, it's something that I would not recommend doing. I'm just saying this is out there. And so all of this stuff that we see on the World Wide Web, so to speak, we are only seeing a small percentage of it. And the other roughly 95% of it is never going to show up on your Google search or your Yahoo search or your Internet Explorer search or your DuckDuckGo search. It's just not going to show up. And again, I'll reiterate, I wouldn't recommend going into that stuff because there are YouTube videos of people that talk about the dark web and the very, very bizarre, creepy stuff on it. That's why I would never, myself personally, I would never want to go on it. I don't care to see none of it. But the point I'm trying to make is what we see in this reality, which physics is showing this, that really we see basically nothing. Humans don't. A dog or a cat can actually see more than a human. And you can see this sometimes. If you ever have had a pet and you see them like staring off into the space, they are seeing something in the light spectrum that humans cannot see. Dogs and cats, other animals, they can actually see more of the light spectrum than we can. And how I'm trying to connect this with the World Wide Web is it's what we don't see. But see, it is controlling. It is very, very controlling because let's face it, what we can see just with our eyes and hear with our ears is such a small part, and knowing that they have intertwined the World Wide Web into the fabric of our everyday lives is scary. And the reason that it is so scary, in my opinion, is, think about it. You cannot even go and buy some food or fill up your gas tank without computers being involved. The World Wide Web, the internet, the system. You cannot do anything without the system being involved in your survival, your day-to-day life. And you know, y'all, I hate to be gloom and doom. My life is a nightmare. It has been for quite some time right now. My intentions are, whether anyone chooses to believe a word I have to say, and I ain't asking you to, what I'm trying to do is, for those that care to even entertain what I have to say, pay attention to what is unfolding and how something that is such a daily part of our lives could be our worst enemy, and we let them put that in our entire worldwide civilization under the control of artificial intelligence, which is the World Wide Web. Because you ain't going to do nothing these days without it. Now, at a time when, and it's coming, I don't know exactly, I haven't looked into that so much. It does take so much energy really to probe deeply into this type of thing, but it is coming. And you know, just think about how much of your daily life is relying on this World Wide Web. I can tell you, you already know. You go shopping, there ain't no World Wide Web, you probably ain't gonna have no electricity in your house, you ain't gonna have no running water, you sure as hell ain't going and buying no food in no supermarket. So the mysterious thing about this, and it's not so much a mystery actually, it really isn't. This 95% of the World Wide Web that we do not see, what's that about? How is that connected to what physics states? This is not something that I dreamt up. This is what physics is telling us. And I'm not suggesting by any stretch of the imagination to believe everything that science tells you. That's not what I'm saying. Use your own intuition. But it is suggesting that we basically see, I believe it is 0.005 of the light spectrum in this reality, this world that we live, which is nothing. And when I think about the same thing is being said about this wonderful, so-called wonderful internet, the World Wide Web, it is virtually the same thing. We do not see hardly any of the World Wide Web. Does anyone make the connection with this? Or is it just me, like, having way too much time on my hands? Because the similarities are just too too close together. I mean, really, they're very close together. It's I've even seen the percentages with regards to how much is visible to us on the World Wide Web, even broken down even more than the 5% that is thrown out commonly as to what we see when we do a regular browser search. It is even broken down even less than 5%. And off the top of my head, I really cannot remember how that is broken down, but I can tell you there are others out there that believe that we are seeing only a couple of percentages of what is actually on the World Wide Web. Now, what I would like to know, and I have plenty of time these days apparently to think about all this weird stuff, is how is it that physics is showing that we only see a minute part of things that are going on around us? We just as humans do not have the ability to hear or see this. And at the same time, this is being said about the World Wide Web too, that the most of what is circulating on the World Wide Web, we are not aware that it's there. Am I putting a stretch on this or what? Anyways, you know what? This video has gone too long. This is something that was on my mind. I'm wondering, what are the odds of that being so similar, of something existing, which definitely the World Wide Web is definitely controls our lives. Anybody that would deny that might live up in the mountains and have no access to any electronics or anything, but you would know that we are totally being fooled or something. There's just something not right. I don't know. Maybe it'll come to me. Maybe I'll think of what it is. There is a connection to it. It is, there is a connection to that. And this is how, when I speak about the system and how it is being updated to control humanity, this is taking place now. This revision, this update to the World Wide Web, which in my opinion is a surveillance, tracking, manipulation of your resources, your income, your stability, all of that. This has been happening over the last few days. We have seen this likely in Florida just over the last few days, but there have been reports of this coming out in other countries. And of course, the narrative that we get is that it is a cyber attack from one country on another and blah, blah, blah. You know what? There's no doubt that stuff probably actually happens, Now, since this is the narrative that they push, and the only one that they push, makes me think that there's more to it than one country cyber attacking another country. I would say they're all in on it together, and it's directed at the majority, which are the peasants. So anyways, I guess I've rambled on enough. That's it for now. Everybody have a great day, and I hope you enjoyed this view.